Hey, folks, welcome to episode 27 of the Mile 20 podcast where epic shit happens. I am Laura, and I am here with my best friend, Lori. Hello, my friend.
Hello from Florida.
Yes, I know we are unfortunately not in the same location this week. Under not so great circumstances. I know you had unfortunately a death in the family, so you had to go and do some travel. So we appreciate the
Yeah.
fact that like you're still sticking with the podcast this week and doing a recording.
Yeah, everything's a little discombobulated. We were supposed to be up at the lake this week. So, like, all my clothes that I packed are not appropriate for Florida. They're more appropriate for Cranberry Lake in upstate New York. And everything's a little disarray. But I'm on naturel today
It's
because
all good,
it's
honey.
I ran 12 miles this morning trying to make up for my mileage I should have run over the weekend, and it just is what it is. But
Yeah, and twelve miles in Florida during the summertime, no bueno, my friend.
no, it sucked. Today
Yeah.
sucked. And then to add to the kicker of this whole thing, while I'm out there, I didn't even think, I'm like, well, the mosquitoes might be bad in the morning, right? Like I could get no-see-ums or mosquitoes, but I had forgotten about Florida yellow flies. I'm
Oh,
like,
you and
you,
the
it's,
damn flies,
oh my
girl.
God, this season is like the fly season from hell. I got bit twice on the back of my calves today.
Oh
I'm like,
man.
and they're like almost the size of like horse flies. They're
Yeah.
big and they hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Maddie and I got in our 12 miler on Saturday and we ran on the Cross Island Trail that starts in Graysonville, Maryland and goes to Kent Island. And really cool trail. I mean, most of it was shaded. But man, we had some horseflies that kept finding us, and the two of us had welts. I mean, they were
yeah.
like good quarter size welts on us. So I can't even imagine like the bullshit that you were dealing with the flies up in the Adirondacks. Because man, that the couple of flies that were around us, they were freaking pissing us off. And like I couldn't even I couldn't deal.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And then today I was starting to get really, I'm like, I'm so over the flies this season. But I did find a lovely rail trail. It was the shit. It was like a regional coastal rail trail, but it was
Okay.
shaded for, I mean, I've probably finished around 10 a.m.,
Yeah.
9:30, and it was shaded the whole time, which
Oh,
was lovely. But
nice.
it was very like old Florida. It wasn't coastal. It was like pine, gopher tortoises, palm trees,
Oh,
thick
that's
and
nice.
lush,
Yeah.
a little swampy in places, but man, fucking flies.
Yeah. Man. Well, good job though going in and getting the 12 in. I mean, so today we are going to talk about the San Antonio Marathon. So last week we were talking about New York, and this is like a whole other type of universe going down
Ye-
to San Antonio. So very excited to talk about that. And in our episode today, we will talk about the Alamo. Finally
Woohoo!
got a chance to go and see that, and this nice little place called Bucky's. This little place,
Yes.
and then we're going to talk about Magnolia. Little Joanna Gaines and Chuck Gaines, and so very excited to talk about our trip to Magnolia. But first, before we cut over to our Mile 20 beverage, just want to remind everybody, and for those of you who are joining us for the first time, definitely check us out on our socials. We're out on Instagram and Facebook. We record our episodes every week on YouTube, and you can check us out in person. Just again, we thank everybody who's joining us every week, and we're ready to get into it. So, Lori, what is your Mile 20 beverage for this week?
Well, since I was on the fly, but knowing my mother, thank God, we have margaritas,
Na
which is
na
very
na na na
appropriate.
Nana. Nana hooked you up.
Nana hooked me up. She always keeps a little some margs in the fridge.
It's nice to keep some margs in the fridge. It is. I actually made some margaritas, oh my God, frozen margaritas. The words are escaping me tonight. I made some frozen margaritas 2 weekends ago for me and my brother-in-law, Keith. He really likes the margaritas. And I actually found Like it was actually like a pre-made mix. I'll have to get the name of it. But I had it in the fridge and just added a bunch of ice to it, and it was super yummy. I was, well, tonight I am drinking out of my Magnolia coffee
Ooh,
mug, right? So I bought this
yes.
when we went to Magnolia. It's one of my favorite coffee mugs, and I have the whole thing filled with champagne. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, I probably won't drink all of this, but I am commemorating our trip to the bookstore with
oh,
your
yeah.
stepsister, and so we'll talk a little bit about that. But we had quite the bit of giggles in a bookstore in in Waco, and I think we got shushed a
Yes,
couple times.
it was awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was. So cheers, my friend. Here's to talking about San Antonio. Love you.
And can I also just give a little nod? Cheers and for my Uncle Dan too, who passed. So
Cheers to Uncle
cheers to
Dan.
him.
Here's
Yeah.
to you going.
Yeah, that was delicious.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm thinking a margarita would taste better than some champagne right now. Mm,
Well,
mm.
I was thinking Tex-Mex, margaritas just seem
Yeah.
to make sense. Even though
Yeah.
I don't know how many margaritas I actually drank. I mean, I remember we made a special trip to Roadmap Brewing, I think, for my Mile 20 beverage, but they
We
are
did.
not nationally distributed. So I couldn't pick up a beer anywhere from them,
You
unfortunately.
and you liked the beer from there.
Excuse me. Yes, I did.
Yeah, no, I remember you saying that you wish that you could go and find it elsewhere, not just
Yeah.
in that area. So, all right, so you know, we every week we talk about what we've been up to this week. So, you want to cover down on what you got going on? I mean, obviously you're in Florida, you're visiting your mom, which is, you know, kind of a
Yeah.
little bit of a silver lining because she's also in Florida.
She is. So we were supposed to be, I was supposed to camp on Friday with some friends at the Delaware Water Gap and then go up to Cranberry Lake with my dad and my stepmom. And then Dave was going to join. And, we were just going to do the Cranberry Lake thing until Monday, a week from yesterday. I guess we're recording on a Tuesday, which is odd for us.
Yeah,
But on Thursday night, I got a call that my uncle had been admitted into the emergency room and he has had past brain bleeds. And they were thinking it was bad. Like it was bad. We were told that there were 6 to 8 hours. So then like we kind of hesitated, like, do they need us? When will the service? Like we just kind of didn't know what to do. And then ultimately on Friday, I had my car packed for camping and I pretty much unpacked it all, sort of, but didn't repack any of my clothes. I just shuffled it into Ella's car and
yeah,
then Ella and I decided to drive on down. So we left Friday, got in kind of early Saturday morning. I was able to sit, by his bedside part of Saturday, almost all day on Sunday. And then he passed early on Monday morning.
yeah,
And yeah, makes you really think about end of life. And yeah, just kind of it sucks. But, again, he passed peacefully. He was 81. It's young, but it's not too young,
yeah, yeah,
and um yeah. So we are actually like some of our families already headed to Kentucky. So that's where he grew up. A lot of our families in Kentucky. So we're actually having services on Friday in Louisville, Kentucky. So like we have a few days to play with. And I'm like, I can't be in Florida and not go down and see my mom. So I bopped down here. We'll be down here until Thursday and then we'll start
good,
heading towards Kentucky.
good, yeah,
So
yeah,
I
because
would
it
say
would be too
epic
hard
week.
doubling back.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
epic week, yes, but not the way you want it to be.
No, no, definitely not. And in fact, because when you messaged, you know, on Thursday when you got news about your uncle, and then you're like, I'm hopping in my Jeep and we're driving down. I was like, oof, you know, like,
Oh no, we're in Ella's car.
oh, you're in Ella's car. Okay.
We're in Ella's car. I did not drive the Jeep down. I'm like, it's 100 degrees. I'm not taking the top down.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. That makes more sense. That totally makes more sense. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things that when stuff happens with family, you just, you know, like life just, you know, stops and you just have to go and do the focus, you know, on your family and be there. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
you were able and I'm sure that your uncle knew that you were there and that you were you you were with him,
Yeah.
on Sunday. So, which is super important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was
heart
good.
goes out to you,
We
honey, and your dad. So
Oh, thank you. Well,
yeah.
why don't we get off of that though? And how was
Yeah,
your
yeah.
epic week?
So my week was entirely different than yours. I'm gonna say fortunately.
Thank God.
So Jim and I, we were down in Maryland this past weekend and we tried a new restaurant. We went to Chestertown, Maryland, which
Hmm.
is a really quaint little colonial town, kind of south of where our place is in Earlville, Maryland. And we went to this restaurant called the Watershed Alley. And goodness gracious, it was delicious food.
Ooh,
Like
nice.
delicious, absolutely delicious. We both
And
had
cocktails?
we had steak. Well, Jim had a Japanese old fashioned, and this was an old fashioned, but it was with a Japanese whiskey. So he
Interesting.
said it wasn't as sweet as a normal old fashioned is,
Okay.
and he could taste the orange
Hmm.
in the old fashioned a little bit more because it wasn't as sweet. He really enjoyed it. And I had this fantastic new wine that I tried. It was a Cabernet Sauvignon called Bonanno from Napa Valley, and oh my God, it was like heaven in a glass. I
Ooh.
absolutely it was smooth like butter, had a little bit of like a cherry tobacco finish. Oh girl, you would have loved that. So I put that in my
Mm,
Vivino app, and my ass is buying that one, and we're gonna enjoy that one at some point in time because that was an
yeah.
absolutely delicious wine. But the food was fantastic. The staff was great. We loved the ambiance of the restaurant. Just everything about it was fantastic. So we did that Friday night. And then Monday, so yesterday, was kind of like action packed. So unfortunately, Sunday night, menopause hit me like a freaking freight train.
Was it because of
And
the
I
wine or no?
no, I didn't have any wine on Sunday. Like no spicy food, no, I mean like no mind stress, and I could not go to sleep Sunday night. I finally went to sleep. Probably the last time I looked at my clock, it was around three something in the morning,
Oh God, I hate
and
those kind of nights.
and I probably woke up around six because Jim went to go let our dog out. And of course, when the dog came back inside, she's like, "Where's the mama?" And she found me and she pounced on me. And so she
Oh.
woke me up. So I was probably working on maybe 2.5, 3 hours of sleep, got from Sunday to Monday. And then Monday morning, we did the Eagles training camp.
Oh,
So
fun.
yeah, so they had over at the NovaCare Center, they had a number of tents that were set up and they served us breakfast. And we got to see, maybe like an hour and 40 minutes of the Eagles at their training camp. Now, Jim and I have done this before at NovaCare Center, and then
Yeah.
they kind of changed it up for a couple of years, and they did these big practice sessions at the link. And I guess that the Eagles Association, they had gotten some feedback from season ticket holders like, hey, you guys need to bring that back. So they brought it back last year. I didn't go last year, but Jim and I went on yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. And you know who I saw? I saw DJ Tarak, and I went over to him, and I was
Ooh.
like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I sat next to you on the plane, going to the Super Bowl and stuff. He gave me a hug. Gave Jim a hug. He was hugging
Oh.
everybody. He knows everyone around there.
Yeah.
But he had the day off, but he was still there at the practice, so he helps to DJ the music at the practices. And it's kind of cool because when they actually start running plays, they actually mimic like it's sounding like the fans, like a loud stadium. So that way
Yeah.
then they can kind of work through their plays and it being loud. So I don't know. I enjoyed that, and they served water ice.
Water ice.
Water ice, Rita's water ice. So we did that. And then last night after work, I made my way over to Ardmore, Pennsylvania, where Maddie and her husband live, my daughter. And so we went and did sound bowl yoga. And
What
so,
the hell is that? Is
yeah,
that
so
like where
right?
they make the wow, that kind of thing?
Yes, yes. So we did some yoga poses. It was a very gentle, very minimalist. I definitely am appreciating the fact that I am a runner and I have zero flexibility. I used to do yoga
Right.
a lot when Maddie was little, and I just got out of it. And I realized last night driving home, I was like, man, I really miss that because it just kind of helped me, kind of prevent some injuries as well. So I'm in my mind going, I probably need to start doing some stretching again and yoga. So this was a good like wake up call. But yeah, so then we did a shavasana, which because I hadn't slept the night before, I slept completely through the shavasana.
So you were nice and relaxed.
I told Maddie, I was like, dude, if I start snoring, like hit me. And then the yogi went into the sound bowls, and she had about 7 bowls in an arc on the floor. And so we were still like in our pose from Shavasana, and then she went right into the sound bowls. And oh my gosh, it was nothing I had ever experienced before. And I actually talked to her after the session was over, and I was describing how my body was responding to some of the really high-pitched bowls and some of the really louder bowls. And she was basically like, "Oh, that's like basically like grounding your chakra." And she's like, "Oh, it sounds as if you had a negative body reaction to that. You're not putting your feet in the sand enough."
Oh,
Like not relaxing enough. And I'm like, "Huh, do you know me?"
right. Yes. She
So
had you figured out very quickly.
I thought that was really interesting. But Lori, when she had these 2 bowls, and again, they were really like prolonged sounds and very like, how I don't know, they were very, very high pitched sounds. My heart started racing, and I got like almost this like overall body feeling of like anxiety and like make it stop.
Really?
Yeah. And then
That's really
there were other
interesting.
bowls where I was like, "Oh yeah, baby, do it again. Do it again." So it was really interesting, and each of the bowls represent like a part of, your being, your aura and so forth. So I'm not super into that, but man, like it definitely had an impact on me. So those are my couple of things that I did. And so I appreciate my daughter, kind of reaching out to me and, just trying to do something new together. So
Yeah, that's fun.
yeah, yeah. So all right, so let's get into talking about San Antonio, Texas. So I,
Let's
I
do
had
it.
never been to San Antonio before we did this marathon, right? Had you?
I had once before with Dave, we went, he had a business thing in like the hill country, which I think you fly into San Antonio for hill country, don't you?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So we were there. He was there for a business trip, but we spent like a night or I think we spent one night or 2 nights down on River Walk. And we did like the whole, it was over St. Patrick's Day. So we were able to drink beer and the little river was green. So it was great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my first time in San Antonio, so it was quite the adventure, and just everything I was seeing was definitely for the first time. Now we did this one in the beginning of December of 2019, so it was the 8th of December.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
why did we pick, and I say why did you pick San Antonio? Because we're going off of like basically like, oh, almost the entire list was your master list. So why San Antonio?
Well, anything, as much as I love my stepsister who lives in Fort Worth, the idea of going into Dallas as a Philadelphia Eagles fan to run anything, yeah. So I guess that leaves like a
We
a
could have
two.
worn all of our Eagles gear though.
That's true. That's true. But I felt like San Antonio kind of had a cool vibe to it.
It
Of course,
did.
now I would be interested to know kind of if Austin had a marathon too, because I've never been to Austin and I've heard so many cool things about Austin that I'd like to check out Austin too. But I think, it was a rock and roll. So, at the time, again, they were pretty well established. And Yeah, there wasn't anything in particular other than the fact that I'd gone to San Antonio and I think I'd liked it. So I thought, why not run the marathon there? Because I thought just the whole vibe was kind of cool with the river walk, the Alamo, there are missions. Like I think Dave and I rented a bike and there's like a bike trail that follows the river out
Yeah.
and you can go see some of the old historic missions
Oh,
along the
wow.
river. So it's just cool because there's just a little bit more history there with the Alamo and the Texas Revolution and the independence from Mexico.
Yeah, and I think seeing how arid the area is, but then how lush the area is around, the river walk, the river and so forth, it just makes you appreciate like why San Antonio was settled and why there was, so much fighting that had occurred in order to go and really, secure that area, right? For for settlements. But yeah, no, I thought it was really cool. Now you mentioned the rock and roll, and they're not doing it anymore in San Antonio, right?
No, 2024 was the last year. And I feel like this has been a movement kind of with cities. They
Yeah.
realize that rock and roll is an international company and a lot of the cities are now realizing that they could partner with like local running clubs and actually create events that benefit the city more than what the rock and rolls were. I mean, obviously the city benefits because they have all the tourism that's associated with the races, but I think that the city of San Antonio kind of felt like they could do it better and keep it more, keep a little bit more of the income from the race to benefit the city itself.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's so, and I like that. I like the fact that cities are recognizing, that one you can benefit a small business, but then also, how do they benefit right from having these races, not just to bring the tourism in, but to bring some income in as well. And I think you had noted that there was a U.S. Olympian that was brought in to help to go and restructure this.
Yeah, they brought Meb in, run like Meb. Meb is the man,
I
and
I I think that was pretty freaking cool, and Meb went and helped design the course, so the course is even different than what we had run, and thank goodness because, I think we've mentioned in previous episodes how the rock and roll courses have been pretty on the front end for the half marathon, and then you get to the ass end, the second
they're
half for
like a
that full.
mullet.
And it's like
Yeah.
you're running by warehouses and sewage plants and like on highways like with like nothing in sight.
Yeah.
So hopefully Meb helped to go and really design a really really nice course that can go and showcase the city the entire way, not
Yeah.
just, the first half of it.
Well, I can tell you, I'm not as familiar with San Antonio that I can tell you what all the neighborhoods are and what they're
Yeah.
like. But I can tell you from a cursory glance at the new course that they have, it does look like it is way more neighborhood oriented and closer to the city center, as opposed to some of the things that we did. So right now, their inaugural season will be this December in 2025. They're going to have a 5K on Friday. I guess there has been a push, but right now they do not have a plan for a 10K, which the rock and roll had,
Okay.
but they don't have yet. But they have a comment kind of on their website, like, we're listening. We hear you. For the inauguration year, we may just do the 5K, a half, and a full, but we are open to the possibility of adding a 10K.
That's
So
cool.
they may add the 10K in the future, but then on Sunday they have the marathon and the half. Now I
I love it.
did not check the half marathon course to see how much it overlaps with the marathon because sometimes, when we run these races where we're all together, it's extremely busy in the first half and then you
Yeah.
part with the half marathoners and you're
You're like,
like, where'd everybody
where did
go?
everybody go?
Yeah, so I
And
don't know
sometimes we
how.
like that. Sometimes we like that,
Yeah.
depending upon the crowd. We're like, oh, thank
Actually, we
God they're
almost
gone.
Yeah, actually, we almost always
We
like that.
do,
Let's
we
be real.
do,
Let's
we
be real.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's nice to feed off of the energy of other people, but sometimes you're just like, Yeah, I just want to be a little bit more alone than being with a ton of people. So no, I'm glad that
Exactly.
they went and changed the course. And now the thing that I know you had called out and we had discussed this is that the expo was pretty decent for this particular race.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing rock and rolls always did pretty solid was have really decent merch.
Yes.
Now I can't remember. I'm wearing the tank top. I think that was this the freebie?
Yeah, does it have like I don't know, does it have
The
some kind of like yep, that's the one I got. Yep.
so it's kind of got the a bull skull,
Yeah,
but it's
bull
really
skull on it.
yeah, but it's really pretty because it's like blue and pink. So I
Yeah.
love the coloring on it
Yeah.
on a black tank. But the tank, like I'm sitting here, if you can't tell, I'm sweating. My cheeks
Well,
are a
you're in
little red.
Florida. You're in Florida during the summertime.
Yeah, but this tank doesn't breathe.
No, well, because it's cotton. Yeah.
No, it's not cotton.
Oh,
It's
it's
one of
not.
those,
What is it?
no,
What
it's
is it?
one of those tech materials that does not breathe. It's like, like like shrink wrap
Oh, I don't remember it being technical. I mean, I still have the tank. I don't wear it a whole lot. I don't know why. I think it's probably just buried in my drawer.
because it
But
doesn't breathe.
yeah. But I today I did not grab the race shirt. I think my favorite part just about all of this was not just that we got the state of Texas done, during this trip, but that we got to go to Magnolia. I am a Joanna Gaines, like junkie. I love
Yes.
me. I love my decorating and getting different ideas on things. And
Well, and she's brilliant at what she does. Like she's just got such a
man,
great
and like
eye
what
for
should
things.
what entrepreneurs? I mean, they started from this little
Hmm.
tiny, home store and you go to Magnolia and I mean, going there in 2019, it's even grown since we were there.
Yes.
And, to see the silos, and I just got
Yeah.
goosebumps. And I have a picture of myself and I did a selfie with the silos behind me and the look of just I'm standing in front of the Magnolia silos. Like
Yes.
to me, it was like, this is why we do this. This is why we do these races. This is why we travel to cool places. And I just absolutely loved, that aspect of the trip.
When you
Um,
go on their website now, it's crazy. They have tours of like some of the homes, like don't they have like a castle or something they
they
redid in
do.
Waco?
Yes,
You can
yes.
now go and tour that. They have tours of their gardens. It is a full blown tourist place. Like you can get a full experience there if you want to. It is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and I remember following the Gaines is when they first had their original website out and it was so wonky. It was and because I'm in software product management and so there's like I can pick apart some stuff and it was not user friendly. It really just didn't have like a great user experience. And now when you go on their website, it's like totally. I was like, oh, they hit the big time. They
Yeah.
they they made the investment, and so it's really neat to go and see people who have a passion point and they're driving towards their dream. And
Yeah.
and they're making money off of it and having fun doing it too. At least they it shows that they do. So
Well, I mean, I just like everything that I bought from there, I adore. Like I
Totally.
just
I
love
love
and
this mug.
use.
I love this mug, and it's just a mug, and it says Magnolia on it, right? It just says Magnolia.
Yes.
Like it just says Magnolia on it, but I love it, and every time I put something warm in it, although it's kind of weird having champagne in it today, but every
Mhm.
time I put my coffee in or whatever, and I'm like, this is my Magnolia mug.
I have these beautiful little nesting porcelain measuring cups that I adore. And every time I use them and I scoop like flour out, I'm like, I'm so bougie. Look at me with my little porcelain measuring cups.
I know, and the prices weren't like exorbitant at Magnolia
No, I
Home.
mean, they were
For
probably
certain
more
for
than
certain things.
Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for certain things, but yeah, I mean, they weren't like, they weren't redonkulous
No.
I just thoroughly enjoyed going through that. So, all right, so back to the race because we're going to talk about Magnolia here in a little bit. The number of finishers when we did the race in 2019 was about 3,500 folks, and
Yeah.
then 2024 it went down to 2,200. So definitely a decline in the
Yeah.
number of people who finished. So, it'll be interesting to see, with them modifying the course and dropping the rock and roll, what their take rate is on
Yeah.
people who are participating. So I wish them the best of luck. You
I
know,
do. I'd actually like to see, actually, I was thinking about after when we were doing some of the research for this particular episode, I was sitting there thinking I kind of felt like we should go out to San Antonio and run, not maybe this year, but maybe next year, just to feel the difference and to see how we like the experience.
so
Just a thought.
let's just tap into that a little bit because let's see if Dave's listening to this podcast, your husband.
Of course he's listening. He does. It's next year. I'm talking about next year, not this year.
So
We're booked
Dave,
up this fall.
so Dave, your crazy ass freaking wife, she's volunteering at the American Red Cross the other day. And she sends me this spreadsheet, or yeah, it was a Google Doc, and she's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, like I had a little bit of time on my hands, and here's our list, at least our starting list for our,
Second time around.
our second time around the 50 states." And I was like, "Fuck you."
Well, you know,
So
I
look,
don't know.
so
I'm
look,
just saying, just a little at a time.
I'm
It's
gonna
no
go on record.
pressure.
I'm gonna go on record. I would love to run every single state again. But the pace that
Oh
we
yeah,
did it
no.
at, right, for the first round, I can't do that. I can't do that again. I'm 54 now.
Yeah, well, so
We
just
did
to clue
16
people,
marathons in one year, and it was like, dude, I just like I don't know
well,
if I have
okay,
it in
but
me the second round to do it that fast.
hold on. Let's clue our listeners into what happened though. So like we were
Yes.
sitting, I think in 2021 and kind of looking forward to because we had just come off COVID, things were opening up again. People were doing in-person races, we were getting excited. And I think we sat down at some point and I was like, okay, in 2023, I turned 50, Dave turns
Oh
50.
yeah.
We're celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary. Like, and
Jim
my
and Jim
birthday's
and
in
Jim and I were celebrating our 30th wedding
30th.
anniversary.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like and my birthday's October, Dave's is in January, and our anniversary is November. I know yours is the 4th. And I'm like, let's just go to Hawaii. And if we're going to go to Hawaii, we need to finish. So
I
then we
remember.
started,
I remember that conversation, and I was like,
yes.
yes. And then it was like, fuck.
Yeah. Because I think right now we're sitting at 2019. We're at like, this was our 21st state, I think.
Yes, it was our 21st state.
Yeah. So we
This is
then,
December. So this is December of 2019, and we finished that's 21 states, and we finished December of 2023 at 50 states.
okay, when you say it like
Dude,
that, that's a little insane.
dude.
Although I'm just going to bring him up, Wyatt Moss did it in a year.
Yeah, but he's also
But he,
young and funded. So,
that's true. That's true.
it just yeah, so I would love to run like all the states again. Because I mean, our
Yeah.
country is absolutely beautiful. I would love to go to places we haven't been to before, just
Yes.
to go and experience different places because, I think, there are a couple of races I would definitely run again. Like if like Big Sur, I would definitely run Big Sur again. But
Absolutely.
are there other really cool races in California? Yeah, probably, So
Yeah.
I think we just need to maybe use Google AI and just what's the most highly rated race in like
Again, what do you think I was doing while I was volunteering at the Red Cross, Lorelei? This is how this all came about. I was doing the research already.
Oh my God.
But
Yeah.
it's
So
open. it's open to interpretation. They're not set in stone. And so for some, I already have a couple multiple ideas for a couple
Yeah,
states.
yeah, no, and I remember the original list. It was like, well, here's my top one for this state, but like I also have like these two other ones that I want to kind of like, like play around with. So, so I do remember kind of like mulling around, a couple of them, but yeah, there's folks, there's a new list. So,
There's a new list.
there's a new
But,
list.
and I don't really love the idea of training a lot. That's the only other caveat to this.
Training from a doc sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and all right, so
Summertime
what do we
long
mean by
runs
that?
suck.
So what do we mean by that? So right now, because Lori and I did not run me, Lori, Maddie, and Maggie, so the four of us that are running the Medoc Marathon on September 6th in France, we all did not run marathons in 2024. Not a
Yes.
lick, right? We had injuries, issues all around, right? So we did not run, and now we have to start, building our base up again. And so it's a 20-week training program, and it just sucks, like, having to go and build your base up. But when Lori and I did 16 marathons in a year, it felt like every other week, every 2 or 3 weeks, we were running a marathon. And it was great
Yeah.
because, like, you'd run the marathon, you'd kind of take like a couple days off, you'd get in a small run, maybe like a 5, 6 miler, the following weekend, maybe a 6 to 8 miler the following weekend, and then bam, you're running another marathon. And you just
Yeah. It just
like,
kind of flowed.
and we just never lost our base. So like, I just felt like I was probably in the best running shape that because I mean, like you and I both did not get any injuries that year.
No.
I mean, and I mean, we ran a lot of marathons. So that's where we're saying that, like, hey, we would prefer not to train and just kind of do like the back to back to back to back.
But not back to back to back like 16, but like I'm thinking more like 12, like one a month.
You just made me snort on our podcast.
It was just a thought. I mean, it's no commitment, but do you really want to go through like
No, I don't.
several, like year after year, do another 20-week training cycles
No,
every year?
no. Did I mention that I hate 20-week training cycles? I hate them.
Yes.
I
They're
hate
so
them.
tough. And it's even worse, like an I have to say, this happens for any race in September through October. If you're in the
I
Northern Hemisphere, summer long runs suck.
I
Suck.
hate, and I don't use that word like very often, but I hate training for an early, like a late summer, early fall race living in Pennsylvania. Maddie and I did our 12 miler, as I mentioned, in Maryland on Saturday. And when we finished, it was 87 degrees. And we met at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, it wasn't like we did like a stupid late start. I had like a 45, 50-minute drive to go and get to her. So like I was like, dude, the earliest I'm gonna like agree to is in the 6 o'clock time frame. Like I cannot do a 5 a.m. start. But
Yeah.
it was 87 when we finished. And I was spent. Like Saturday, I got home and I showered and I slept for 2 hours. I woke up. I watched the Philadelphia Union soccer game. They beat the Colorado
Nice.
team, and then I went to bed at like 9:30.
Yeah.
So I was like, good for nothing,
That's the
So
way I feel now. Of course, I was not long, but this 12 miler this morning, I started at so it doesn't get light here. The sun does not rise until 6:50.
oh
Yeah, and I'm by
yeah,
myself, so I
yep,
didn't want to be
yeah,
out on the trail in
safety
the dark.
safety factor,
Like if
yep.
Laura and I were together on the
We
Chester
do it,
Valley Trail, we would do
yeah,
it. We
yeah.
would start at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
But
which
I
by the
can't
way,
do
do you
that.
remember the one time we were on the Chester Valley Trail and we heard like a noise and all of a sudden
Yes.
you like hid behind me?
Yeah, because you're military trained, dude. You're gonna protect me.
I was like, "Oh, I see how this is going down."
Yeah, that's why we're friends.
I absolutely love that. All right, so going back to San Antonio, the weather
We
I
digress.
know, as we digress. So the weather was, like, perfect for, like, a marathon
Yes.
day. We started and it was, like, in the low 50s, and then when we finished, it was, like, mid-60s. So, like, perfect weather. And
Yes.
it was sunny, as well, but, just it was just a really, really nice kind of, early winter day for Texas.
Yes, it was. It was beautiful.
Yeah. All right, so what were some of the things that were memorable to you with our visit down to San Antonio, Texas?
The visit part or the race part?
Let's
Are we
let's
done with
highlight.
the race? I don't think we're done quite
No,
with
we're
the
not done
race
with the
yet, are
race.
we?
No, we're not done with the race. So what were some of your race highlights? What were some of your race favorites? I can't figure out my fucking hair right now. I'm sorry, folks who are listening and you can't see this. Like my hair, I look like I have like GBF hair. I'm like, what the heck?
It
Okay.
does not look like
All right, I'm
as
gonna
bad
get
as you
over
think
it.
it
I'm
does.
gonna get over it. I'm
Leave
gonna
it
get over
like
it.
that though, because it looks better when it's like in front of,
All right, I'll leave it.
laying.
I'm gonna stop touching it. Stop touching it. That's what she
Stop
said.
touching it. So I feel like some of the highlights to me, they say we ran by the Alamo. I don't remember
We did
running by the
not run by the
Alamo.
Alamo. We did not.
Okay.
No, I don't
Yeah, because I
remember
don't
running by the
remember that.
Alamo at all.
Yeah. I don't remember that. Or maybe, but it could be like I didn't have my head up and I wasn't looking.
I
That
don't
could
think
be
we ran by the
possible.
Alamo. I think they're full of shit.
But some of the things that I think were a highlight. Well, I don't want to take all of them away because I'm sure some of them are your highlights too.
No, well, you like run through a couple.
Love there was we were running and of course it was like a really was it the back it may have been the back half of the race because we were on an interstate and we were going under an underpass and there was music playing.
Yeah,
And there were two young kids dressed up in like traditional, I want to say Mexican dress, but I'm not sure. But it was very traditional. She had a very long skirt on, and
very
she was up.
full.
Yeah, it's very full. And she was up on they were both on the overpass dancing, and she had like her skirt in her hands. And I don't know. I was like,
And
that
he had
gives
like a
me chills.
bolero like
Yes.
jacket on with like,
And
a big hat and yeah, that I absolutely love that. I remember taking a video of that and cuz again, like we live in Pennsylvania and, culturally like, that's not something you would find, just run of the mill in Pennsylvania. And so I appreciate the fact that they brought some of their culture into the race.
agreed, agreed. And then which I know you'll probably want to mention too. We were slogging somewhere in the back half, and I feel like it may have been after our mile 20 beverage, but I can't
It
remember.
was.
Maybe it was before, it was
It was
after.
after. It was after.
We were like running, and it was warehouses, and we were by ourselves, like normal, in the middle of this shit scenery. And there were these guys out front of like their shop. They
And they
had
were in
a
lawn chairs.
Yeah, and they're cheering us on, and I'm like, "Oh, but thanks, buddy. It'd be a lot better if you had some beverages." And he was like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Fireball." And he was like, "Wait right here."
He ran. That man ran back to their building and he pulled out not only a bottle of Fireball, but it had been in the freezer.
It had been in the
So it was
freezer.
like ice cold and we're like, "Oh my God." So we had got a picture with these two guys and they were from Ailman Motorsports. So we gotta give them a little bit of a shout out. Hopefully we don't get anybody in trouble for having Fireball in the freezer. But man, that
Yeah.
was that was absolutely incredible. I mean, the fact that this guy sprinted back, I mean, and it was like across a big parking lot, and he sprinted
It
back to the
was.
building, and we waited.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. It was worth the wait too.
And man, they were like generous pours too, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna be freaking trash.
I know. I know. But
And
it
we
was
mentioned
it,
during the last episode that like I hate Fireball, like I absolutely hate drinking it, and I was like, I'll drink Fireball.
yeah, but somehow we say we hate it, but we always come back to it.
We do, because it's
Explain
like
that to
it's
me.
just, God, I hate fucking Fireball.
It's a complicated relationship.
It is a very complicated relationship. It's very abusive.
Very abusive. I love you, baby. Bitch.
Oh man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and that was it was definitely after our mile 20 drop. So because we had dropped at Comanche Park, which was at mile
Yeah.
20, and you had gone the day before to that Roadmap Brewing place you had mentioned earlier, and you had gotten a really, really nice size beer, and I can't remember what the hell I had for my mile 20 drink.
You had Prosecco,
I have
which
see, folks,
so that's
can you
yeah,
see, like, I'm just kinda, like, predictable?
you are.
But when I have a sensitive tummy, and I
Yes,
have something that works, it's like,
you
and
go with it.
there's something about the Prosecco too that, like, it just kinda gives me a quick buzz.
Well, honestly, though, I'm very predictable also because I was usually drinking beer on the course.
Yeah.
It just happened to be I tried for a
At
local beer.
this time, at this point in time, we were
Yes,
very
but it
predictable. You had a
changes.
beer and I had a Prosecco, and I can't remember at what race, and we'll probably figure it out as we're going through this where we kinda start changing things up, but we'll save that for future discussions.
Yes.
Things that I loved the mariachi band.
Oh, yeah, they were
They had a
fabulous.
mariachi band.
Yes.
Actually, I think they had, like, 2 bands that were playing, like, kinda side by side, and they were absolutely incredible. I'd never seen a mariachi band live in person,
Yeah.
and so to hear that was incredible, and then there were so many beautiful murals throughout the
Yes.
city, and they were very cultural to the area, had a very southwestern, and I'm gonna say like a very like Texas Mexican theme to them, and absolutely just breathtaking. And the amount of, I mean, and the appreciation of like the fact that it's like, wow, not only is that like a work of art, but somebody painted that on the side of a building.
It
you
was
know,
really good. They
you
were
know?
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So got a lot of pictures of that. And then we met a little friend along the way around mile 20 something, didn't we?
We did. Although I remember he was kind of I think we've talked about this in previous episodes. Like somehow towards the end of the race, we're still like our spirit is not broken because we know we're going to finish. We've been goofing off, but somehow
And we've
we've
had an alcoholic beverage at mile 20.
right. But somehow, like because we've screwed around so much during the race, we've fallen back, and then we wind up with people that are on the struggle bus.
Yeah.
And I feel like this poor guy was really on the struggle bus when we started to go by him. And we just, are we talking about, wait, are we talking about Santa or are we talking about the other guy?
No, well, you could talk about the other guy and then we could talk about Santa.
Well, I don't remember overly much. I just know that he was struggling and we were able to
He was
talk with
struggling a
him.
lot, this one guy, yeah.
Yeah. And we got him through to the
We were like,
finish
"Come
and it
on,
was
man,"
awesome.
and there was some song that was going on, and we started singing, we're like, "Come on, sing with us," and
Yeah.
he started like he's like, "Y'all are crazy," and then next thing you know, he's, like, running with us, and we're like and then we're singing, and then we start dancing, and then he's, like, singing some of the words and stuff, and we got our picture taken at the end of the race with him. We didn't catch his name,
I did
but
not.
we probably ran, like, the last 2 miles with him,
Yeah.
and he
Easy.
was struggling hard, and yeah, and it just I don't know when we pick up like I want to call it like the Forrest Gump, we pick up folks, along the way.
Right.
I don't know, there's something about it where I just lose what I'm focused on for myself and for you because like once we both know that we're okay, and then we just like focus on that person and
Yeah.
you know
It
and
helps
and
us get through the miles being caring and thinking about somebody outside of us.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it made those 2 miles go by pretty damn quick, so yeah, so
Agreed.
I absolutely loved, running with this gentleman, and he was so appreciative, when
Yeah.
we were
He
done,
was
and he's like,
so
Can
sweet.
I get a picture taken with you guys?" And then we picked up before we picked up this guy, we had a little stint with a guy who totally looked like, a thin version of Santa.
Yes, he did. He had a big bushy gray beard, and I feel like we ran with him for like 3 miles, and I feel like we got his whole life history, and yet now it's like 6
I
years
know, like,
later, I
can't
can't
remember a
remember
damn thing
any of that
about him other than
conversation.
he had a
Yeah.
Santa hat on and he looked like a thin version of Santa, like, completely, like, looked like so and then he had, like, red shorts on too and a white shirt, and we were like, "Oh my god, it's Santa." And,
Yeah.
like, it was cool because I remember there were kids along the trail and they were like, "Oh, it's Santa." And he was actually stopping and getting his picture taken, with some of the bystanders, and, so I absolutely love that. Now, I also loved when at some point in time we saw a family and I think it was the teenage daughter. She had a Rocky shirt on, so we had to
Yes.
get our picture taken. Because being in Texas and wearing a Rocky shirt, I mean that's representing Adrian and
Yeah.
Philly, and we're like, yeah, we got to get a picture taken with her.
Hell yeah. Plus, we always have the Rocky. No matter what, whatever marathon we're running, we have the Rocky theme music on our playlist
We do,
because
we do,
yeah,
we do.
'cause
But
we have to bring the Philly.
But I don't know if you saw the video that Maddie took of her and I from our run on Saturday. So so we were playing like
Yes.
one of our playlists and we had the Rocky music, and so Maddie's all like pretending she's punching and like like trying to self motivate. And she turns the video on. She's doing like selfie video, and I'm doing this to myself. Like I feel like I got getting punched in the face, by the weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just overall, I mean, I think the course was okay. I mean, like the beginning part was nice because we got to run through downtown, a little bit, but I think the things that we picked up as memories were more about our experiences and the people along the way versus, the fantastic
The course.
scenery and on the course. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did think that they did, which I can't even imagine how much better it probably is with San Antonio putting it on, the way they wove the just the cultural color of San Antonio into the race. So
Yeah.
I'd be so interested to know how that translates with
I
the
agree. I
with the new
agree.
direction.
I agree. No, when we were done with the race, we went back. So we stayed at the Marriott that was down on the Riverwalk, and that was a prime location
Great.
because the race start, and I don't know where the race start is for the new race this
It's
December
still in that, so I
in
guess
that
the
vicinity.
19 yeah, so the 1968 World's Fair was held in San Antonio, and so they have an area called the Hemisphere, and so it starts and finishes in that same location.
Fantastic. That's good because
Yeah.
we stayed at the Marriott that was right down on Riverwalk, and it was like prime location for
Yes.
picking up our bibs at the convention center and for the start.
Yes.
And we had a balcony. So I
Yep.
recall after the race, we went and just as tradition has it, we grabbed an after race beverage, and instead of going to a bar, we went and sat up on our balcony and got to,
Oh, we
kinda
also went to the pool and swam.
we did, I
Yes,
remember
they
that.
had
That
a
was
pool, which is fabulous for recovery.
it is, and anytime we are in a hotel with a pool, I would say 90% of the time take advantage of hopping in the pool. Was that the pool where,
Absolutely.
like, when we were in the hot tub, there was, like, a shit ton of people in the hot tub, and we were like, "Oh, there's way too many people in the hot tub." Was that
Yes,
location?
I
Okay.
believe it was that location, but
I was like, "Is it
we
too
were
many
having
people
our
in."
beverages in the pool as well.
We were, and then
Yes.
there were kids around, and then we were, like, in the hot tub, and we're like, "Alright, this is like, people were like there were enough people in the hot tub where I'm like, "Somebody can touch my leg," and I'm like, "I'm done."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm tapping out. You
Ta
guys, it's all you. Have fun.
tapping out, folks.
For
So
sure.
I mean, anything else about the race that you wanna recall? Any other fond memories?
No, I mean, despite the fact that I don't love rock and roll courses, and of course rock and roll has moved on, they they are good at what they do as far as organizing a race.
It was very well organized, I totally agree. Very well
Yeah.
organized, the amount of porta johns per, the number of runners, the beverage stations, I mean, everything. Like, we were not without being in the back of the pack of the race.
No, no. So that was nice. And nor did I feel mad towards the end of the race because we were in the back of the pack and we were something was missing when we
Yeah.
got finished.
No, totally agree.
Um, as far as like merch goes, like we already talked about merch and the metal, I actually feel like this is probably one of the better rock and roll metals that we have. It has like a decent band and the metal itself is kind of pretty. It has just the skyline and then some flowers and the star, Texas star in the background. So I thought
Yeah,
it
the
was a
star,
nice
I like
metal.
when I pulled my medal out this morning or like this afternoon and I was like looking at it and I saw the star in the middle. I was like, oh, it just reminds me of the Cowboys.
Right.
Like,
Sorry about my
oh.
gagging noise,
I
but
know, I know, I know. Sorry for people who are listening to us in Texas. Like we bleed green and just there's
and I
something
love
about
my
Dallas.
stepsister who's in Texas. Susie's so sweet, and I
I
love
know
Fort Worth. It's very
we love
cute.
everything about Texas except for Dallas. So sorry. Sorry, not
Yes,
sorry.
Cowboys, Cowboys. Let's just say the Dallas
It's just the
Cowboys.
Cowboys. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not even like Dallas. It's just the Cowboys. So,
it's just the Cowboys.
um
Yeah,
yeah, so we got to be tourists that weekend as well, right? Like we built in like a
yeah.
decent amount of time to do some stuff on that Saturday. So we picked up our bibs, early on Saturday because the
Hmm.
race was on Sunday, but we got there on Friday,
Yeah,
right?
we
So
got there. I feel like we got there pretty late Friday night
we
because
did, because I remember like we were like, oh, we need to eat. And
yes.
so we went down on Riverwalk and we ate at the Cafe Ole, Ole, Ole,
Ole,
Ole,
ole.
Ole on Riverwalk. And that was like some really, really good Mexican like Tex-Mex food. I really,
Yeah,
really like that.
yeah. It was decent. Very
And the
decent.
people watching was fantastic because you're on Riverwalk and it was a Friday night and it was
Yeah.
dark out because it's like winter time, in December. And, they have some fantastic lighting along the Riverwalk. And I don't know, I love
Yes.
doing people watching. So that was a lot
I
of fun
agree.
doing that. Yeah.
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 And then I think Saturday morning we had wake we it just happened to be like I wanted to connect with Susie so bad since I was in Texas. And we happened to look and we're like, oh look, Waco, Texas is right between Fort Worth and San Antonio. And then Susie's like, yeah, we should go to Magnolia. And I think you were like, yeah, let's go to Magnolia. Like we all need to, that's where we need to meet. So we were able to drive up
Yeah.
and
And it wasn't a bad drive. And
I think it
so
was like what, 2 hours maybe?
yeah, maybe 2 hours. And we met her.
Yeah.
Did we meet her at the BJ's restaurant and brew house? Is that where we met?
I don't know if that's where I can't know because there wasn't a BJ's in Waco. I think we ate at the BJ's on the outskirts of. We either had dinner there. That may have been our pizza the night before,
Was that
actually.
was
I
that our
think,
pizza the night before?
yeah, I think we ate at BJ's on the way back into San Antonio later that night.
Okay, okay,
Now
okay.
that I'm
Because
thinking
I, because
about this
yeah,
in
because
my
I,
head.
because I remember we met Susie at lunch, and then we went to Magnolia,
Yeah.
and so irregardless of where we ate, I mean,
Did we
going,
meet at BJ's for lunch?
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but I
We ate
don't
at
think that.
BJ's at some point in time. Um,
Wait, does that sound right? BJ's Brew House and Pizzeria. Maybe we should say the full name.
yeah, Maggie's gonna have fun with Instagram on that one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But we went to Magnolia and again, it was when I think they were just bringing up their furniture store. They had the home store that was established. They had the silos. They didn't have all of like the little vendor cottages. They did have the Magnolia Bakery at the time, and I did get a fantastic gluten-free dessert, and I can't remember if it was a cupcake or a cookie or something, but like I was ecstatic in the fact that they had a gluten-free offering. So I do remember that.
And I believe we were standing in the bakery in line and we were sitting there and we hear somebody say, oh yeah, you can get cocktails at the bookstore. And all of our heads whipped around. Where
We're
is
like,
this at? Like
bookstore,
what?
where is this at? And they were like, oh, it's the Fabled bookstore.
Yeah, they're like,
And
"Oh, it's really walkable. You can get there from here if you just it's like 3 blocks
and
away,"
we
or
all love
something like that.
books, so we're like, "Oh my god, cocktails and books? Like, let's do it." And that
Yeah,
place was awesome. Um,
loved it.
they had a little bar inside, and, so Susie and I both got
Maybe we
champagne.
shouldn't say bar, maybe it was more of like a cafe.
Yeah, it's a
I
cafe
feel
that
like they
offers
had,
some
like
alcoholic beverages. It wasn't like a full on like,
yeah, but they
like
had a cat but I feel like they had coffee
they did
and, like,
too. They did
pastries.
too. And we're like, huh, I could have tea or coffee or champagne. Well, no shit. I'm gonna go and have myself some champagne.
No, it was champagne on tap. Do you
That's
remember that?
right.
It was on tap, and we're like, "Oh, champagne on tap at a bookstore? Yes. Yes. We need to
We
go."
got some glasses, but like just walking around and because we both are avid, readers. And I don't know, I just absolutely loved walking through that store. Did you end up buying a book? Because I got a picture of you
I was
holding a
holding
book
one.
called Epic Journeys,
I
which,
did not
is kind
buy
of
it.
appropriate for us, but you didn't buy that one?
I did not buy that one. I think because we always pack so light, I didn't wanna have to,
Yeah, it's
like,
hard.
haul the
It's
book
hard.
home, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I can buy this probably on at
On
home," but I
Amazon. Yeah. No,
yeah,
but the place was great, and I do remember at some point in time, you were still walking around looking at books, and Susie and I were talking because like, this is the first time I had met Susie, and I feel like, I've known her for 20 years. Like, she was so easy to talk to and get to know, and we her and I are gabbing, and we're like, "La, la, 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 la," and all of a sudden, like, people are staring at us, and she's like, "Oh, I think we're supposed to be quiet."
no, I think she said, "Here we were. We thought that they put a bookstore in the bar, but I do believe we're" wait,
In a bookstore with a bar.
"a bar." And, like, we're supposed this is not a bar atmosphere where we can be like, really loud.
Yeah.
People are quiet.
Yeah, yeah, we had all eyes on us, and they were probably like, "Oh, they're from Philadelphia."
Yeah. Loudmouth Northeasterners, that's us.
Oh, man, but I just I don't know, I love me a good bookstore and, like, just the smells and the smell of books and just, absolutely incredible. I'm reading an incredible book right now called, Codename I think it's called Codename Helene. And I don't know, you know me, I'm totally into my World War II genre books,
Yeah,
and Codename Helene, and I absolutely like, this book has me so hooked. In fact,
nice.
after we're done with the podcast tonight, I'm just gonna go and probably listen to it for an hour. I have about 6 hours and 49 minutes left of listening to it. It's like almost like a 14-hour listen, this book.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm reading right now, oh, shit.
You're reading the
Name
book
my
about
I know, the women of
the
Lafayette, the
Lafayette's
Chateau
ancestors, right? And
yes, the women of Chateau Lafayette. I am going to quickly double check that I just made that. Yes, the women of Chateau Lafayette, because we're going to France. I always love reading historical fictions before we go into a location, just so I have some kind of history plus some entertainment too. And so I need to pinpoint exactly how accurate this is. But basically, it's about three women that have kept the Lafayette Chateau intact. So the first one is the wife of the actual General Lafayette, which was integral to the American Revolution here.
yep, yep.
And then the second one is set, I think, in like during the First World War, and then the third woman is set during the Second World War.
Okay, okay.
So
I love that. I absolutely
yes.
I love that, and my book is also set during World War II in France.
Oh,
And
nice.
funny enough, they mentioned Toulouse
Ooh.
and Marseille, and I was like, I on a map, I don't know where Marseille is. So so I've been like kind of educating myself, like, okay, here's where we're going to be in France in a couple weeks, but then here's where these other areas are, and oh, here's where they're talking about this battle. And so yeah, so I've been enjoying it too, and that was why I picked up my book as well, because it said it was set in France. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool to go and kind of get a little bit of context. So as we're driving around kind of leisurely and so forth, it's like, okay, like this was not the same experience of people in like the early 40s, in France.
No.
Very, very different place. So
Yeah,
kind of keeps you grounded. So
it
um
really does.
all right, what other things did we want to go and highlight? I mean, we did go and see the observation tower, right, from the World's Fair. You mentioned the World's Fair in
Yes.
68. So that was kind of cool to go and see that. It almost looked like the needle, the Space Needle in Seattle.
Yes, it does. It's called the Tower of the Americas, even though I think I called it the Space Needle forever. But it is not indeed the Space Needle. It's the Tower of the Americas, and it's 750 feet high. And I think at one time it was like the tallest observation tower in the US, but then got knocked off by, I can't remember which one. Doesn't matter though. It's no
Yeah.
longer the tallest one in the US. It was. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
No, no. And we got to go to the Alamo, which was
We
super cool.
did, and I
Yeah.
I like many other people was completely shocked to go and see how small the Alamo was. It's like
Yes.
it's like, "Oh, shit." It's like this little tiny thing. No, and it's really right now, currently, it's set kind of in the middle of the city. So, the perspective was
Yes, it
probably
is.
very, very different during, the 1800s, and, it just I don't know, it kind of put it in perspective, but it had some pretty grounds to it, and it was nice to go and be able to experience it.
Yes.
And then
I will keep all my nerdy shit out of it.
yeah,
It's fine.
keep your nerdy shit out of the conversation. And then we had lunch at a place. Is this where you had we had lunch at a place called the Pearl. Is this where you had your sandwich, your burger with the peanut butter on it?
No,
No.
that's a different place. No,
Oh, I was
we
trying to remember if
actually,
this was the peanut butter burger place.
so San Antonio in the late see, here comes the nerdy part. Can't help it. It just creeps up. In the late 1800s to almost like 1999, there was a brewery called the Pearl Brewing Company. So it was like a local but mass-produced Texas beer. It kind of, I don't know what happened to the property after 1999, but the brewery closed down shop and stopped brewing, or they got bought, maybe. I'm not even sure, but there was this property for the brewery. The actual brewery piece has turned into a really cool boutique hotel called Hotel Emma. And then there is like a huge park and green space there, shops, restaurants. We ate at the Southerly Fine Foods and Brewing Company. They brew their own stuff, and it was delicious. It was delicious food. They had a beautiful patio. I can remember sitting out there and thinking, this is probably like the last warm day we'll be able to sit outside when I go back home to Philly. It's gonna suck.
Yeah, because it was
And
December. It was
it was
December.
December.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a really cool pit stop because it's the hotel, the wandering around like the hotel, it was just beautiful.
I
It was
love that.
beautiful.
And this like just you saying like about like it being like the one of the last days, like the warm days that we would be outside. Ironically enough, like the following weekend was when my sister and my brother-in-law were getting married. So that's when my sister and Keith got married on the 14th of December. So I remember like because there was a lot of build up right to the wedding and so forth. And here I here I am in Texas the week before. So I was like, man, I got a lot of shit to do this coming week. So while I was enjoying like Texas, like also in my mind, I'm just like, all right, I gotta do this and I gotta do this. I gotta do this when I get home. And so it was great, like, kind of going on that trip, but then like the buildup of that following week to my sister and my brother-in-law's wedding was absolutely awesome. So
Yeah.
we thoroughly enjoyed that. So all right, so we talked about the tank tops. They don't breathe a whole lot. But it was kind of cool to get a tank top because we don't
Yeah,
get tank tops very often as, the race shirt. And then you described the medal, which we thought like for rock and roll, it was like a pretty decent medal. But
yeah.
folks, who are running the new marathon in San Antonio, hopefully you get some good medals. I mean, because there's some beautiful things and cultural aspects of San Antonio that I think would kind of resonate really, really well on a medal. So hopefully
I
you
feel
get
like the face of the mission of the Alamo would be really
right.
cool on the
Yeah,
medal.
like that was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a miss. Like they didn't do that. Well, anyway, so
Yeah.
so question. We ask this
Yes.
every episode. Would you run the San Antonio race again in its new format?
Of course.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. I would. It wasn't a hateful race. The one that we ran. I'm thinking that like with having Meb like involved in the race, it'd probably be a little bit of a nicer course. It
Agreed.
wasn't super hilly or anything or like hateful in that regard. But
Mm.
again, being that you have this second fucking list of 50 states, I'm thinking that Texas is a really, really big state. And there's
Yeah.
probably some other cool places for us to see. Cause I'm like, yeah, I've been to San Antonio. Like, I'd love to maybe go
Yeah.
to Austin or Houston or something like that, where places where I haven't, well, I've been to Houston, but it's Houston's kind of flat.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. We'll see
yeah.
what comes up for Texas.
There we go. There we go. So
Who knows?
cool, cool.
Next
Yes.
week,
Yeah. What are we talking
uh,
about next week? What race?
the Mobile, Alabama Marathon.
Eh. That's all I have to
We'll,
say about that race.
we will discuss all of our thoughts and feelings about that
Can
race
I
next
can I
week.
do that again? To Mobile,
Sounds
Alabama. Sorry,
be
not
it.
sorry.
I don't even know how to respond. Anyway, so we want to thank you guys for joining us today. And we hope that you can join us next week and now go make mile 20 your bitch.
Bye, y'all. Peace out.